The days in Adventure Bay continued to unfold like the pages of a never-ending story. And as autumn painted the trees with warm shades of red and orange, Marshall found himself facing new kinds of challenges, ones that tested not just his bravery, but his heart and judgment won. Chilly morning, Ryder received an urgent call from a small village just outside the familiar borders of Adventure Bay, a place nestled between quiet hills and whispering forests. The village was in distress. Wildfires had broken out near the edges of their land, and the local team lacked the equipment and resources to contain the flames without hesitation. Ryder turned to Marshall, the fire pup, with the most heart for the job. Marshall felt a mixture of nerves and excitement, as this would be his first solo mission outside their home territory. Though he had always worked with the team, this time, Ryder believed in him enough to lead. And sometimes that belief in someone becomes the spark that ignites something powerful deep inside. As Marshall rode through the unfamiliar landscape, smoke curling into the sky and frightened animals fleeing to safety, he reminded himself of all he had learned, the long nights of training, the missions they had conquered together, the voices of his friends cheering him on in his mind, and the sound of Ryder saying, "You've got this, Marshall," echoing with strength. He didn't even know he had. Arriving at the village, he was greeted not by applause or cheer, but by worried faces and trembling voices. People looking to him not as a pup, but as a rescuer, as a hero. He didn't feel like one, not yet. He felt the weight of their hope and knew there was no room for error as he scouted the fire's path. He coordinated with the local volunteers, used his hose to contain the outer edges, and taught them how to dig small trenches to slow the spread of flames. He didn't shout orders. He encouraged, inspired, reminded everyone that together they were stronger. As the wind shifted dangerously and the fire turned toward a barn where a group of scared animals were trapped, Marshall didn't hesitate even for a heartbeat, charging through the rising heat and smoke using everything he had trained for. He reached the barn, doused the doorway, kicked it open, and barked gently to calm the animals. One by one, they followed him out, the last one, a tiny calf too frightened to move. Shaking in the corner, he sat beside it, pressing his warm body against it, nuzzling it gently, speaking in soft tones until it stood, then walked beside him out into safety. The village watched in stunned silence, and when the danger had passed, when the fires were under control and the skies cleared, they gathered around the little Dalmatian, with tears in their eyes and gratitude in their voices. He didn't ask for thanks, but the feeling in his chest, as the village's children hugged him tightly, was worth more than any medal or trophy. They stayed up late that night, singing songs around a small fire, roasting marshmallows and retelling the rescue like a legend being born. And Marshall sat by the flames, staring into the glowing embers, thinking about what it really meant to be brave. It wasn't about sirens or fire trucks or even putting out fires. It was about love, about showing up, even when you're scared, about making someone else feel safe when you yourself aren't sure how things will end the next morning. He returned to Adventure Bay, greeted by the familiar skyline and the joyful yips of his friends who had followed his mission from afar. Their pride in him radiated like sunshine, and Ryder knelt down, placing a gentle hand on Marshall's helmet, saying nothing, just smiling, that smile that said, "I knew you could do it." The days that followed were filled with new energy for Marshall. He wasn't just the clumsy fire pup anymore. He was a leader, someone who others looked up to. Not because he was perfect, but because he had heart. Yet the story didn't end there, for soon a message arrived from far across the bay. A message wrapped in mystery, and a map covered in symbols, the kind that hinted at an old forgotten rescue station hidden deep in the mountains, where a legendary firefighter pup once lived and trained. It was said the station held ancient tools and lost knowledge, meant only for those with the purest intentions, the kind of pup who didn't seek glory but served from the heart. Marshall's eyes widened with curiosity and wonder. Could such a place be real, and if it was he ready for what it might teach him? Ryder trusted him again, this time with a small team. Sky and Rocky joined him, and together they began a new journey. This one more secretive, more personal, and filled with puzzles and moments of self-discovery. As they traveled the rocky paths and climbed steep cliffs, Marshall began to reflect on his journey from the pup, who once tripped over his own paws, to the rescuer who led a village to safety, and now to a seeker of ancient wisdom. Along the way, he faced moments of doubt and trials designed to test not his strength, but his values.